My name's Col Cowan, dairy farm here at Hannonvale. Property is approximately 140 hectares. We have a milking area of about 75 hectares. We milk 180 to 190 cows all year round. We produce 1.65 million litres a year. The property is predominantly kikuyu and paspalum. During the autumn, from about the last week in February onwards through to about the last week of May, we plant ryegrass and clover and chicory into our mix. The rye varieties that we're using this year are Crusader, Maverick and Accelerator, also red and white clover, which is inoculated, and also grouse chicory, which we've used for a number of years. We plant chicory in our mix. We find that it's very drought tolerant with the long taproot that it has on it. The chicory does compete quite well with the kikuyu. Our ryegrass varieties that I've just mentioned, they grow well through to about Christmas, and then the kikuyu takes over, and then slowly for the next month tends to dominate the red clover and the hyper clover as well, until we've got a predominant kikuyu base around late January, February. In this paddock I'm standing in at the moment was the first paddock we planted for this season. It was suppressed with Roundup. It was planted on the first day of March. Prior to that first day of March and the planting, the paddock was flogged down with dry cows and heifers to get rid of the roughage off the paddock. So we didn't have much cover over the ryegrass seed as it germinated. So we intend to graze this paddock again in about 2 weeks. So through the winter we normally have a 28-day rotation. Through the summer on kikuyu it's more likely 12 to 15 days. And in the spring, when the ryegrass is really galloping along, it can be about a 14 to 15 day rotation as well. We aim to graze the ryegrass at the 3 leaf stage. We may get below that to maybe 2.5 leaf stage in that late winter period or early spring, just before we do get that phenomenal growth of ryegrass. We do go to that 2.5 stage just to avoid having a bulk of feed, and we like to keep the quality of our ryegrass high. At sowing time we plant with DAP fertiliser. Not every year do we plant with DAP, depending on the price of what's available. It does vary from year to year slightly. Then depending on what part of the farm, the night paddocks are usually fed once before they're top dressed at all. The day paddocks will be top dressed with normally a blend of potash and nitrogen. The product that we're using this year is Pasture N at 125 kilo per hectare. In the spring we'll use Pasture 16 at the rate of 250 kilo per hectare, and then through the summer, or that late spring and summer period, we'll top dress with urea as required. Our total fertiliser program for the year consists of 500 kilograms of nitrogen, 5 kilos of potassium and 48 kilos of phosphorus. We also use lime every 5 years at 1 tonne to the acre. We tend to only have to irrigate through spring, mainly probably 60 days for the whole year, and we tend to find that we can really produce a lot of feed during those spring months with these long growing ryegrasses that we've been planting. We conserve approximately 600 brown bales of silage a year. We try to make most of that through the spring out of our top quality ryegrass. We do tend to have a feed gap from March through to May when we're busy planting all our paddocks. We have a lot of paddocks taken out of the rotation, and the new ryegrass isn't quite ready to be grazed, and it's very slow growing, of course. So we tend to feed our best quality silage in that period. We'll probably use 2/3 of that 600, and we tend to keep our poorer type of silage, which is higher in roughage, for that late spring period or late winter where they're needing a bit of roughage, and just to bind them up a bit when they're on the very loose ryegrass. We feed about 5 to 6 kilo of grain in the bale, which is made up of mainly wheat. During the summer months, when the kikuyu is lower in protein, we will add some protein meals, about 10% of the ration. Through the DAGs, I participated in the FTC project. I was able to map out our whole farm, how I wanted it to look in the long term, which has also enabled me to install water troughs. By installing these water troughs, it has improved production from our cows. Previously our cows had to drink from dams, which were long distances from the grazing area. Quite often the cows would go and drink from the creeks and then not return back to the pastures. So we're gaining a lot of pasture utilisation that way. Also, we've been able to fence off creeks in some of the high traffic areas that the cows were going up and down the banks to drink from the streams. We've been able to improve water quality, less nutrient runoff into our streams. Also, we've been able to improve the stability of our creek banks.